Hi there, you're listening to the Bigfoot Society podcast, and I'm Jeremiah Byron. Every week I talk to individuals who have experienced Sasquatch in some way or another, so you won't want to miss an episode. Make sure you're subscribed on the platform that you're listening to, and share this episode with a friend. It does not cost a thing, and it helps the show continue to grow. If you'd like to hear Bigfoot Society episodes early and ad-free, you can do so by becoming a Patreon supporter or a YouTube channel member. Links to those are in the show notes. In Bigfoot Society, I've taken far too much of your time so far, so let's get on with the show. What follows is a preview of a special members-only episode of Bigfoot Society this week. In this episode, listener Chris shares many strange things he's witnessed over the years, including strange lights in Nevada, a werewolf in Florida, and the Catman chimera creature of Nellis testing range in Nevada. In this episode, we go far outside the normal paths of Bigfoot Society, but you won't want to miss it. To hear the whole episode, you can become a supporting member over at patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society or become a supporting member on our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.
I want to say they were working Air National Guard because they didn't just say straight up military or Air Force, but they could have worked like, DOD maybe out there, Department of Defense. But this person brought up Catman. That's the only other person that I've heard of that brought up Catman when it pertains to Nevada. So when I first got to the base, first off, how I got to the base and everything leading up to how I got to the base is, weird in of itself. That's the story of my life, essentially. Like, the weirdest crap happens to me. I don't know why. And people don't believe me until I explain it to them. And then they're like, holy cow, how did that happen? But anyway, I wound up getting to Nevada, and I wound up, getting, Nellis Air Force Base as my duty station. So I didn't realize that I'm in like where Area 51 is. It just didn't hit me. I don't know why. I was into the subject of ufology, but for some reason it just didn't hit me until I had my first experience like 2 months later, that one experience with the triangular, lights and the pattern. I started to do like research, I had to be careful because obviously they don't want you doing that, specifically if you're in uniform, they don't want you touching any of those topics. But I remember having a conversation with a coworker and him telling me about this thing called Catman. Okay, so what's Catman? Catman is this cryptid that looks like a cat, and it's bipedal, but it can go on all fours, and it's been running around like the Nellis testing range for years. Okay, that was the first like story that I heard or account that I heard. At first, it sounded stupid, Catman, like Bigfoot. I mean, that's been, people have been talking about it for years, but you can use the term Sasquatch if you don't want to sound stupid, I guess, right? And then, werewolves, like the term Dogman didn't exist back then. Nobody was saying Dogman, So hearing Catman, it was kind of like a joke to me, even though I was into like paranormal, but it was just kind of stupid. And it wasn't until like it was individual. I'll say his first name. I can't say his last name, but his first name is Toby. He worked at main base in law enforcement. So main base had law enforcement and they had some security because they had a flight line over there. And then, like I said, Area 2, which was probably like a couple of miles from the main base, was just all security, right? So sometimes they would flip-flop, like meaning they would send people from, Area 2 to main base to fill in spots to work law enforcement and vice versa. So they wound up not sending him to do a couple of jobs. They completely transferred him over, which he was ticked because he wanted to be a cop, and he wanted to get as much, experience being a cop, law enforcement in the military before he went on to be like an actual cop. So they transferred him over, and then, we became friends. And there were times where him and I would be on post together and we just have like these crazy conversations. So at the time, his wife was working for the National Guard out there. And I believe that they were somewhere, the National Guard station was somewhere between Las Vegas and Pahrump. Maybe Rachel, Nevada, I'm not sure. But somewhere in that realm, they had like their own guard station. And she would have to go out, I don't think once or twice a month and do work. Apparently her partner told her that his uncle did contract work for Area 51 and had to build this sort of like this huge cage, right, to house something in it. They didn't tell the uncle, too much detail because they leave things out for obvious reasons. They don't want people like contractors that are from the outside to start running their mouth about what they're working on. So it's always like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. You understand? So they'll only tell a person so much just so they can get the job done, pay them, get them the hell out, And then if they need them again, they'll call them and have them do it again. So he had to build like this sort of like, I call it like almost like an encampment sort of thing, like this cage. I don't know how many miles wide or whatever, but he wound up building it. He was allowed to go into Area 51 into the chow hall in there to eat. The description was that when you get inside the chow hall, all the windows are blacked out because they do like experiments with things and they don't want people seeing anything. But when you're getting your food, you have to be a certain distance away from the person in front of you so that you don't spark conversation. Okay. So apparently he was in line getting his food, and one of the individuals who works there, I don't know if it was like an engineer or something, wound up having a conversation with him. He wasn't supposed to. And he asked him, "Are you the one that built that encampment?" And, he kind of nodded his head because he really wasn't trying to talk. And so the guy told him the reason why they built this encampment is because the military is involved in this hybridization program. Okay. So hang with me, Jeremiah. Okay. Supposedly this hybridization program is to like create like these weapons, right? These weapons have to do with like mixing the DNA of animals.
Oh boy.
To create like this weapon, right? So essentially, what do they call them? Chimeras, essentially.
We'll be back with more Bigfoot Society after these words from our sponsors.